So you're just gonna sync it up the stream? By that I mean the timer?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, this begins the Star Force trilogy. At the start I'm not really going to be saying much because I have to type in a lot of stuff. So, I guess someone else can start talking and go over some stuff on inputting all this.
Yeah, Vash, explain what's over there.
I will try my best. Sorry if my throat's still a little, but I will try my best. So let me know when you're ready.
You might want to turn your fan off first.
Tara, when you get a chance, we'll need the donations tracker back up.
Right.
Bash is just learning. I was just taking helicopter lessons, so it's fine.
Okay, so, well, at the beginning of the game of Star Force 1, Silver, what he's going to do, he's going to get some battle cards. To be able to get some battle cards, he will do in Star Force is called cipher codes. So the way to be able to get a cipher code is to send an email and put in the title cipher. And in the message you must input an special code. There are some codes that we can use during the run. So say that we get some kind of OP battle cards at the beginning of the game. He will get some mega cards, also some standard cards that he will do kind of fast the battles, and it will be more fast. Unfortunately, some cipher codes are kind of long, and it doesn't help much with the run. But you will see it soon how OP is Star Force 1 at the beginning of the game.
Also, there's only a few of these I've memorized. A lot of them, you'll see me like pause in the middle of typing them, and that's me looking at my computer. Because some of them, a lot of the first ones I'm putting in are like pure text and kind of easy to remember, and then I've got a few of them that are just random jumbles of letters.
Yeah, pretty much, because for example, there are a lot of cipher codes, and Silver, I think he uses a few of them. So it's kind of hard to memorize all of them. So in my case, I will usually use notes for this. So about this version, Silver is playing in the Star Force 1, the Dragon version. So in Star Force 1, if you don't know, there are three versions. There is the Star Force Dragon version, Leo version, and the Pegasus version. And Silver is playing the Dragon version because this version is the fastest. For example, in every version you get one special data card for every version. In the Dragon version you get Dragon Sky, in the Leo version you get the Kingdom, and in the Pegasus version you get Pegasus Magic. So in this version is way more better the Dragon the data card of the Dragon Sky, because you can do a lot of damage. If I think you do like 700 maybe, Silver?
Yeah, you do like 700, and doing that damage, it is so fucking awesome. I think the Kingdom does like 600, and Pegasus Magic does like 450 damage. And also with the Dragon Gear card, the enemy doesn't have invincibility defense because it was damaged with the wood element, so it's really good. Also, it is really good to fight some bosses. Well, one boss in the game that is kind of hard. So I had to stop and check because I messed up one of the codes.
It happens.
Alright, and then I'm
You're
getting into the
really
ones
fast.
that are random strings of text, so you'll have to bear with me here.
Apologies to the chat if my commentary is kinda bad. It's just my throat can start stuttering a little, and I am not really good at this. So apologies in advance.
As you see there, that's just a random string of text for no reason that exists. That gives me Flicker 3, which is a really good chip and was recommended that I pick up by Method. And there's a couple of these that Method and Vash recommended I pick up. The original star codes I only used got me the mega cards, but they told me I should pick up a few of these ones, and were like, you should grab these because they do this, and they do this much damage. And I went and tested it, and sure enough, they were worth the time required to put them in.
Pretty much. For example, he got the Flicker Kick 3. For example, the Flicker Kick 3 and the Sticky Rain. I think you get the Sticky Rain 1. Those battle cards in the Star Force 1 is already OP because with the Flicker Kick 3. It does 60 damage per hit, and it hits like 3 times, and the Sticky Rain it does like 30 damage, but it hits like 8 times, so it hits all the viruses, so it's really OP for the beginning of the game.
Alright, well, so I made a foolish mistake there at the very beginning. So basically, the way this game works is you can get what are known as favorite cards. And what we do is we want to get the favorite cards to be... originally we didn't understand what the point of the favorite cards were. At first I thought they were just for show on your card. Turns out that favoriting a card actually means that when you draw them, regardless of what type of card they are, like Mega, Giga, Standard, they can be picked up and used together in a fight. So if I were to draw all of those together, I could pick them all together, regardless of their rank.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it basically turns like a Mega card into a null Standard card, allowing me to take it with any other card. So now text mashing through tutorials. Well, just one of the very few tutorials. So I'm probably going to mess this up because this game feels like just randomly asking if you're following along. And if you say no, which is the default, you have to repeat every line of text. So here Luna asks me to input a secret message for my brother band. I'm just going to tell her I like arrows, because it's the closest thing to the OK.
Yeah, pretty much. At the beginning of the game, there is an explanation of the brother band. Is kinda long and is kinda annoying because there is a long test in this, and there is also in all the Star Force in the 3 Star Force games, and pretty much it is a big deal in this one. So it's kinda annoying.
Yeah, the first few scenarios are the longest. Past, when you get the Libra scales, the scenarios get like shorter and shorter, but that's already like halfway through the game at that point. So here we pulse in for the first time. Should I really even bother going into the tree, or should I just ignore that? Because
I think you can count a little of the story for each scenario if you want to.
Alright, well, just for those who haven't played Star Force, it basically takes place 200 years after Battle Network. And the basic storyline is you're playing as Geostellar, who his father worked for basically NASA of this game. And he was on a mission to an alien planet to form something known as a brother band with them. But the signal for the brother band was taken as a threat by the king of the alien planet, so he sent a squad of aliens to attack and destroy where the signal came from, and so Geo's dad went missing. and so they just assumed he was dead. Because of it, Geo stopped wanting to go outside, he stopped wanting to interact with people, he didn't want to go to school anymore, so he just kind of stayed at home. And the only one thing he would do when he'd go outside is go to Vista Point and stare up at the stars, hoping that he'd see his dad. And as you saw there, we went to Vista Point. Now, I skipped the cutscene, but basically what happens is while Geo's sitting there staring at the stars, at the same time, Omegasis, which is this alien that's talking to me here in the tutorial, was getting chased from his planet, and he needed to escape. And he basically told Geo, if you let me use your body as an escape route, I will tell you what happened to your dad. So Geo basically just goes along with it. So basically, Omegasis stole something from Planet FM and fled to Earth. And because the king was mad that he stole something from him, he sent the same exact people that were sent to destroy Geo's father's spaceship down to Earth to get it back from Omegasis at any cost. So the game basically revolves around you stopping them from killing you and destroying Earth. And I got a bad counter luck there.
Yeah, I am hearing right now.
Yeah, it's coming from my speakers, so I can check the audio.
No, it's okay, no worry.
The difference in this game is when you counter, you don't get bug frags or any of that. You get an extra battle card that's put in your hand. And it's very useful, and it's also very RNG dependent. You can get anything in your full work automatically be put into your the counter handle, and there I'd like to get a cannon because it kills that Metar in one hit, but I got an air spread, so I kind of had to buster him a little bit.
Do you want me to explain the battle system in Star Force, or you can explain it?
I can explain some of the things that are different between Star Force 1, because they changed a few things.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm stuck to 3 squares only. I can't move around 9 squares, I'm only stuck to 3. And that's all I get to move around. But to comprehend, like, basically say, okay, you've got this much space, but we're gonna make it okay for you. They gave you a shield that you can use to press Y, and you get a shield that blocks damage, as you would expect. And then you get the ability to lock on by pressing down on the D-pad. Only certain battleships can lock on to viruses, but once you're locked on, you just attack with it, and Geo will jump up towards where the virus is and attack. Now, there's one really weird thing with Star Force 1 regarding the shield, and basically what it's intended to do is you bring up a shield and you basically stand still for a bit so you block the damage. But if you pull up a shield and at the same frame that you pull up a shield, move a direction, you will cancel the shield but still block the damage. So I just call it a shield cancel because they're basically overriding the shield's action, but it still exists.
You forgot something about the auto charge in Star Force.
Somebody?
Well, about in Star Force, compared to the BN games, you have the auto charge, so you don't have to hold B compared to the BN games. So pretty much you don't have to hold anything, and in Mega Man we do an auto charge, but it will depend of the time.
Yeah, I messed up and forgot that guy there, so I'm going to be a bit farther away from the target here. But yeah, the Buster auto charges based on the charge stat of the weapon. Speaking of which, I forgot to give Mega the M-Breath. So, M-Breath is one of the things that Method recommended I pick up. It's basically the same stats as your basic weapon, but it has the chance to freeze an enemy or put them in a bubble state. And that just makes them a sitting duck. And it even works on bosses. So, and I got a perfect hammer fight.
Nice.
So it could not have gone any better than that. So basically that jammer was messing with the signal in the car, so we had to stop him. And jammers are a reoccurring enemy in this game. We'll see them a lot. basically they're just here to wreak havoc. They're not really here for any specific reason other than to mess with the machines. Have there been any questions in chat since we've just been going on?
No, I am looking at chat so far, and there isn't any questions.
Alright, well, other people in the Mumble, you can feel free to say stuff, you know.
Yeah, they are so much quiet.
Oh, and I think it's worth noting that I am playing on console, which is why there's so many audio issues. I have to use an audio cable and plug it into the headphone jack of my DS and then the line-in port on my computer. Now, even with a normal computer, this is still a shaky setup. And because my computer's old, the line-in port is actually loose, and so it cuts signal randomly whenever it feels like it, or it can just like decide to not read the cable at all. And it leads to a lot of issues with this. If I was streaming off my laptop, the audio would be fine. But my laptop is too crap to even stream, so there's downfalls to using each machine. So there we skipped a bunch of cutscenes where basically the first alien that was sent to Earth to stop us decided he wanted to take over Bud because Bud was feeling annoyed that Luna was more interested in getting Geo to go to school than Bud's own affairs. And that's one thing that I forgot to mention. All the aliens that you will that take over people in this game only take over people with weak hearts, or like who are emotional, or like they just can't. There's just like a lot of things they have to do. It has to be emotional. They have to be mad, sad, angry, all of that kind of stuff. They can't just take over any human. And so Bud was feeling annoyed that Luna was paying more attention to Geo, so the alien known as Forrest took over Bud and used it as an opportunity to attack Mega Man. So now we're gonna go stop him. One thing that is different, and I really should be paying attention to, I'm now actually going to be paying attention to my folder, which in normal circumstances I wouldn't pay attention to it too much, because the cards you get at the beginning. And the reason I mentioned the shield canceling is because, as far as I know, it doesn't exist in any of the other Star Force games.
So pretty much in the Star Force game, for example, in every Star Force game, we have to go as fast as we can. But in this case, in Star Force, is kind of more pushy for us because there is only a little times that we can break. For example, in the pushing animation in Star Force 1 and in Star Force 2, when there is a connection that you cannot skip, something like that. So the Star Force games are kind of more hard for us because we don't have a time break. For example, like in BN3, because they have some
we have to literally going.
Yeah, we have to go as fast as we can, and there is a little time break. So for us, it's kind of hard to look at the chat.
So this is the first comp. We're basically inside the truck that Forest Fire took over, and this is where playing on a console takes the advantage. These bulls will randomly start bucking you around, and to stop them, you have to touch on certain spots on the touchscreen. And I'm pretty sure any of you can imagine why that's annoying on emulator.
Actually, I was going to say that the difference between the console and the emulator, if you want me to explain.
Yeah, you can go ahead, because there's more things of that nature.
So pretty much, knowing the fact that we have the 3 Star Force games for the DS, we have Star Force 1, Star Force 2, and Star Force 3, but in the Star Force 1 we have a big problem because in the first scenario, for example, as you can see in the Taurus Fire scenario, is way easy in the console, but in emulator it's kind of hard because it is in the touchscreen. So to be able to manage it with the mouse, in some places can be really easy, but further in the scenario it's kind of hard. Like you have to touch some things in the start. You have to touch some things in the scenario and are really hard in the Taurus scenario. So in emulator, if you have a really bad luck with the Taurus scenario, it can take you like from 30 minutes to 1 hour because it's really fast in emulator. So in emulator it's kinda bad to run this game. So I was thinking to run this game in emulator, but I saw there was a big problem with this game. So for example, the Taurus Fire scenario is a big problem. The hard node scenario is also a big problem because hard node is throwing you some nodes and hard node is throwing you the nodes really fast, and you have to use the touch screen and sometimes you don't have time to react. So it's kinda a big waste of time for an speedrun. So comparing the emulator to the console has a big advantage to the speedrun.
Yeah, you can do it on emulator. It's just a lot harder because of the precise movement, and so just generally on this and the harp note scenario, you lose time on emulator, and not to mention load times on emulator are actually slower.
I didn't know that, to be honest, but
it's not very noticeable, but there's a frame rate drop when you pulse in on emulator. Even if you have a good computer, there's a frame rate drop.
Nice, I didn't know that. So yeah, pretty much. If you want to try this game for emulator, you can try it, but it will be, if this is your first time playing a Star Force game, it will be really hard. So I would recommend you, if you are interested in playing these games, I would recommend you to play on console. It will be way more easy than emulator. But for example, this is only a problem in Star Force 1. There is also a little problem in Star Force 2, but it isn't kind of a big deal, and it's only in the last scenario. So having these games in the console is kind of way more fast. I don't know if there is a big difference in Star Force 3 compared to the emulator and the console. I don't think there is many difference, to be honest. Like when I was doing runs, I couldn't see many difference between console and emulator in Star Force 3.
If anything, emulator for Star Force 3 is better, especially when it comes to the white noise, because that screen is just sitting there. On console, you have to like tap around. On a mouse, you have more movability.
Yeah, pretty much. The noise. Oh yeah, and the white has commands also. So yeah, if you have any questions about the Star Force 1 game, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I've mostly done just runs when it's like 10 people watching, or offline because streaming is usually an issue for me because internet.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'm about to start losing time on the first split, and that's because of more cipher codes were input than my last run.
You faded like 2 or 3 cipher codes?
I put in 3 more codes than the time, so...
Oh, it's okay, don't worry about that. You're going to save more time.
Oh, well. So, that's a first example of one issue is Leo Kingdom SP and Skydragon SP all require at least 2 spaces in front of you to be free, and I accidentally used Leo Kingdom SP with only 1 space free in front of me. Just cancelled it.
Hitaka is asking, is there not a way to make your computer send all the audio to one side?
No, it does not seem to be wanting to do anything. You could, if I could go into the sound devices and change the line in to be audio only, or single channel only, but it only has options for double channel, so I can't do that. unfortunately. And I only lost 30 seconds. So that just shows you, despite how long I wasted putting in more cipher codes, I only lost 30 seconds. And you will see there will be maybe a few times during the run while I'll press the L button, but for the most part I won't, simply because I played this game so much to practice that I really should just know where I'm going, just because of memory.
Memory so strong.
I even 100%ed this game in Japanese, which if you choose in the poll, you'll get to see me play my Japanese card for fighting Sky Dragon SP, which is a really tough fight. Like, most people think it's a joke, but it really isn't. The S version, the one you have to fight the SP version to get a title screen star. So that just tells you how annoying the fight is.
Yeah, pretty much every SP version of Tadeo, Dragon, and Pegasus are really hard.
Yeah, I haven't fought the Leo Kingdom SP or Pegasus Magic SP, but Sky Dragon has an attack that can break through your shield or any like barrier or anything, and does like 600 to 700 damage. And he does it when he's at low HP, so it's like a serious FU if you're getting close to winning.
But I don't remember how many damage it does, the Pegasus, but he goes really fast, and I think it's a special attack. He can freeze you, but he does a lot of damage. Like, you have to be really focused in the battle, because if you miss something, he will hit you, and he will do to you a lot of damage. So sometimes can be a little more hard. So in my case, I have to do like a combo. Well, I forgot to. Can you explain that, the combo thing in Star Force 1?
Yeah, there's in Star Force 1 and 2 they have this thing called a best combo, where if you fight an EX or an SP version of a boss and do a series of battle card combinations, you can register that as a best combo, and then you can pay $3 grand to get a best card combo card for your folder. Then it basically just uses all those cards without stopping in between for invincibility frames. And when Method did a Star Force quote-unquote run for MagFest, he went out of his way to fight Taurus Fire EX to get a best combo and a best combo card, because he thinks it's worth it to go out of the way for. But Method spent 3 minutes trying to get the best combo. And in that 3 minutes, he got a best combo that did like 240 damage. And in those 3 minutes, I could have done that much damage to Andromeda just using the cards I have. So, to me, it's not worth to go out of the way.
Okay.
And speaking of, we only need about 3,000 Zenny in the entire game. That's it. We don't buy anything for anyone. We just have to we do, but we don't have to go out of our way for a specific card or any of that. We just need 3,000 Zenny so we can buy a guy some juice at the end of the game.
Kay was asking, he said, were the battles in this game set to only give Zennies in the first time?
Only set to what?
To only give Zennies.
No. You can get battle cards at any point. It's just the drop tables in Star Force games are really weird, where there's not like a virus doesn't have its own set drop table. An entire fight itself has a drop table. So it's like you could S rank, but the game will like throw a dart. Oh, it landed on Zenny. You're getting Zenny. So you can S rank every fight and still get E. There's just a all chance whether or not you get a battle card.
Pretty much RNG.
And as you will see, the other Battle Network games, they went and tried to meet run rates. The run rates for Star Force 1 are so incredibly high that it's unrealistic to even go for them in a speedrun. Like the truck comp that I just finished, the run rate in that is 120 HP. So it is completely unreasonable to even try to go for the run rates. So I don't even bother with it. Plus, half the time it's P cards.
Yeah, pretty much.
So here we're starting the second scenario, and we're basically at an observatory, or a space museum, and to continue we have to examine all these things. And the guy you saw me talking to is actually a friend of your father's, and so he treats you like a friend because he knows your dad, and so he's basically, at the beginning, he's Gio's only friend.
Yeah, pretty much Mr. Aaron Boreal.
And he shows up in all of the Star Force games in some way. He shows up for like the shortest period in Star Force 2, which is kind of sad.
Well, in Star Force the only big deal it was a blank card, so he wasn't really important in Star Force 2.
And this is actually part of the second scenario. So, as you saw when I kept the cutscenes after Taurus Fire, I was standing in front of a guy, kind of standing there. He works for a museum. He's been wanting to develop something that can make humans fly, but he's so afraid of someone stealing his work that he has to hide a thing from everyone. He's always afraid, scared. So he ended in front of us in the cutscene, and then he was afraid that we're going to steal his invention, so he basically tells us to go away and screams at us, so we leave. And then, yeah. And as you can probably guess, he's the one that's going to get, taken over here, which just happened on the stream, or on my end.
Yeah, pretty much.
He basically gets taken over by an alien called Cygnus, because he was so afraid of someone stealing his inventions that Cygnus was able to take over him. And he basically trapped in this observatory here, but we're gonna use TeamBN to get out. And that was like the easiest passcode in the entire game. And it's just how many planets are in the solar system, and it's 8, so...
It's 8 in the game.
Yeah, you can go around in the planets, and as you might have seen, I did go to one planet, simply because it has an HP Mem 10 in it. And the game tells you that you need to examine all the planets, continue the story, but all you have to do is talk to everyone. That's it.
As every battle network and Star Force game, you have to talk to everyone.
Yeah, if at any point it says talk to everyone or examine everything, it's usually lying, and there's at least only one person you have to do to talk to trigger something.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's really annoying that.
So, as demonstrated, having these SP cards just destroys everything. Bosses, even towards the end of the game, get wrecked pretty hard. Get rid of these guys.
Make sure if you need to save the game.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I did a practice run not too long ago where I was 7 minutes ahead of world record, and then I died and went back to my previous run. The previous run saved because I forgot to save. So
just to remember you.
Basically, I went RIP, and that was that.
Everyone can get mad for that.
So, which is why I mentioned at the beginning of the marathon that this has a very high chance of being world record, because I was 7 minutes ahead and then died and RIP. So as long as I'm not an idiot here, I should be fine. And a world record should be possible. And Zenny comes in handy because despite the fact that I said we're not going to meet any run rates, if we don't get a certain amount of HP, we will get destroyed by Andromeda. So I do try to meet some form of HP expectation, but at no point will I try to match the run rates. As we're heading into the Space Sim comp right now, which the run rate I think is 380. And as you can see, I only have 140.
Wow.
And
380.
these comps have one of my favorite themes in this game. And here's where the name of my split for this comes. The split is just called Where's PETA? And basically this whole comp involves me shooting rockets at ducks.
Oh yeah, it's kind of funny. In my first playthrough, this was really funny.
So a lot of these guys are pretty simple to hit because they move very slowly.
Prof is asking about the run rates are kind of ridiculous for this game.
Yeah, they're unbelievably annoying and it's not even worth it. The amount of time you would spend going out of your way to meet them is in the end not even worth it. So we don't bother. So it's not even worth it to try and meet them. And I'm actually gonna play it safe here. And saving is pretty fast in this game too. So here I'm gonna avoid getting hit by these falling stars because it wastes time, and it does 10 damage to me every one that hits me. I needed that guy to jump back one row, otherwise this wouldn't have hit him.
Wow. You are watching the stars really good. Like, I have played this game like 3 times, but I haven't been able to manage to dodge those stars. Like, are really annoying. Every time I was running in the path, the star got me so fucking annoying.
Yeah, they're kind of annoying. Originally, I thought it wasn't worth it to stand and wait to avoid them, but the animation of Dio getting hit by one of those is longer than just standing there and waiting for the next cycle.
Like, how much time it is animation?
The animation is about 9 seconds long, and the cycle lasts 3 seconds.
Wow. Pretty much. You are saying 6 seconds.
Yeah. And I fried all ducks in this area, so we're going to the next one. So there is the first example of having favorite cards. I just took Leo Kingdom SP, Flicker Kick 3, and Dragon Sky SP all together.
Well, pretty much get wrecked.
Which normally you can't do normally. It's their favorited. Yeah, as of now, there really isn't much to say, because it's pretty basic. I've already explained what's going to be happening in the comp.
Yeah, pretty much. So far we don't have nothing to say for the moment.
Just answer questions that are any.
Until the next scenario, we can explain a little of the story of the Star Force 1. So far there aren't any questions in chat. Feel free to ask if you have any question. And feel free to donate if you like what you see. Every donation is well accepted.
Yeah, and then if you want to see the special crossover scenario after the run is over, you just need to donate $10 for that to happen. That's it, just $10, and you get to see Mega Man.exe and Star Force. So, I'd say it's worth it. It's nothing. It's not really too interesting, but it's just a little something if you haven't seen it before or you didn't have these games.
Yeah, pretty much. It's something about the face.
And there I just missed the duck, and he basically mocks me for missing.
Yeah, I hate so much that you waste like each time you miss, you waste like 15 to 20 seconds, something like that.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of text boxes that really don't need to be there.
Pretty much that.
Huh?
Why don't they touch? Yes.
Oh, because they're bad.
Yeah.
They basically just stand there and accept death. That's basically it.
Yeah.
That was a pretty risky shot there. I got a double when I really should have gotten hit and interrupted.
Wow, that dodge. I'd say I am here, please hit me.
Yeah, and before you shoot the rocket, they even say, "Do you think you can hit me?"
You should
like,
do an emote of the dots. It seems kind of funny.
Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas I want to do. Like, I want to make a Hertz champ, because they've got Prog champ.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking something about the Angel Hearts for Star Force 2. And I have already a Red Team emote in my chat.
Right in the ass. It's surprisingly satisfying to shoot rockets at ducks. Oh, and there's the animation of getting hit. And the SP chip or SP card animations are also a good time to like take a drink of water or something. But I haven't taken a drink of anything all day just because I was afraid of having to go to the bathroom during the run.
It happens almost the same thing to me, dude.
Right before my roommate left, he's like, "Hey, I got you a soda," and it's like,
Thank you so much.
Like you're trying to foil my run.
Are you going to say something, Jess? No, I think not.
Now there's one. That's the one spot where it's actually faster to just take that hit because the cycle takes a bit longer to repeat. So getting it just lets us step into that current cycle.
Cygnus win the resta.
And in the next scenario, I'll be spending all of this money on HP memory. Go. That duck is arguably the easiest one to hit because he moves the slowest out of all of them.
Oh yeah. I remember there was some dogs that were really tall, that they moved so fast and were really annoying. Oh, they are talking about Star Force 3, the noises.
Arguably the best noises are Gemini and Wolf. No arguments about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, man, like Wolf and Rogue sometimes for a speedrun.
If Rogue
But-
was attainable in a speedrun, that would be the greatest.
Actually,
The free swords plus 20.
Actually, it can be obtained, but you have to be really lucky for that.
Well, I mean like the first noise change, which is you can't get Rogue from.
Oh yeah,
Getting
in the
Rogue
fifth
from
one,
that would be great.
it will be really okay.
The person who manages to somehow get Rogue noise from the first change will automatically get world record in my heart. Alright, saving before Cygnus Wing because he can be a troll.
Yeah, and you have kinda low HP.
Yeah, I've got half my HP, which isn't too bad. During my practice run, I had 10 HP going into this fight. Because I boosted a little bit more than I needed to. But I'm getting pretty good luck on the M-Breath shots here by freezing him. When he stops to attack like that, is the perfect time to hit him with Sticky Rain.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Cygnus Wing. I'm drawing nothing but swords. Come on. And he's got this really annoying attack where he summons fellow ducks to just stand in the way.
Oh yeah.
And only the white duck can be hurt. So,
That
really
is
weird.
really annoying.
And for those who are interested, I am now ahead of world record by 2 minutes and 47 seconds.
Wow.
Just from that. Now, if I can remember where I'm going here, because this next part is a really weird series of events.
Shooting ducks with rocket launchers in an observatory thingy where everyone's spinning around in spacesuits. Game kind of set the bar pretty high right off the bat.
Yeah. This game, the difficulty curve is pretty intense near the end. Like, out of nowhere, the difficulty jumps up. But the game also gives you pretty powerful cards, which they did realize they made a mistake with later. In Star Force 2 and 3, you're not given as powerful as chips right off the bat.
If you think Star Force 1 is broken, you haven't seen anything so far.
Yeah, if you want to see if you want to see sheer abuse of a game's features, just wait till a few hours from now.
I wouldn't say cheating.
I said abuse of a system.
Okay.
Because you're literally going to be abusing the system.
Don't blame the
They put it in
developers. Yeah.
Blame the developers.
Yeah,
So-
blame the developers.
Here, the first time we meet the brilliant named Bob Hopper, who's the head of the Satella Police, which we'll see multiple times. Basically, he wants to find out where the source of the EM waves are coming from, and he wants to eliminate it. And so he's picking up on Omegasys' signal, so we have to find a way to get rid of him.
Yeah, he wants to capture Mega Man too.
So to knock him out, we're going to use a baseball machine that's locked, so you have to go find the guy who runs it.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, the guy who runs it is standing next to Bob. And he tells us that he won't let us have the key for unknown reasons, so we're just gonna violate his privacy and jump into his transer to find out why.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's really funny that scene that you're going to hit him. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and the best part is it's unskippable.
Oh.
You cannot skip the cutscene where you smack him in the face.
Oh, you can. Okay, that would be really cool then.
There's a series of unskippable cutscenes. Most of them have to do with brother band stuff, so which we'll see in pretty soon because my first brother band is going to be soon. Now we've got the card, but the machine isn't working yet, or still isn't working, so we're going to go check if it has viruses. And the Pulsing animation, I think Star Force 1 has probably the coolest animation. Star Force 2 has the flashiest one, but it just doesn't look as cool.
It looks cool for me.
And then Star Force 3 doesn't have it at all. It just has transcoding, which lasts like 3 seconds.
Yeah, pretty much.
So the viruses that were stopping the baseball machine just got destroyed. So here's the part where we get to smack Copper in the face with a baseball. And it's unskippable, so I'm just going to be mashing through text. And then I just hit the throw ball. And he's out. So now, because he's out like a light, we want to check his transer to see why he's actually here. Because they believe he's not here for what he says he is. So we're just going to pulse in, go to the exact same spot as before, and check his transer.
And we think we are going to erase his data. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They don't mention it, but they do erase data from his transer, saying that you are the main suspect of the EM waves. But you can't erase his memory; you just erase the data from his transer, basically halting his progress. That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And this guy's actually, for those who've actually watched the anime, he's a bigger jerk in the anime.
Oh yeah, in the anime it's really annoying, dude. Like, you don't have an idea how annoying this one is.
So we just checked his transer, and he basically says, I've been hired to go and follow EM waves from this area. The main suspect is Geostellar, who seems to be emitting them at high rates. And then we just delete the data from his transer. And then he wakes up, he wonders why the data got deleted, and then thinks he deleted it himself, because he's kind of out of it because he got hit in the face with a baseball. So he just leaves. And because we succeed in hitting an authority, man of power with the baseball, we're just going to go to sleep.
Yeah, because we feel really powerful for that.
And starts the next scenario. So, for the second day in a row, some random guy starts knocking on our door. Except this time, if the guy says that his client or his client is missing, and then as soon as we leave the house, we get a signal someone needs help. So we gotta go figure out who it is. And of course, I know who it is, so I'm just gonna go right there.
Oh no, I don't know.
Wonder who it is, and I'm gonna be skipping the cutscene, so you guys will have to wait to figure out who it is.
Actually, I am watching it right now. Okay.
So, basically, we're gonna take the person who needed the help signal to someone that's gonna watch over and make sure that nothing bad happens. So we're gonna take him to Aaron, which is basically our only friend, so the only person we can count on. And you might have noticed that out of all the people that have been running the Battle Network game so far, I am the most I don't even know how to say it. I hug the corners more than anyone else. Like, I just sit here and follow walls. Like, it saves frames, and I do it probably the most out of everyone here.
I don't know. Yeah, I do kind of the same thing too.
Okay, so spoilers, it was Sonya. And now because we were here, EM waves are acting up, and they cut the power, and now we have to stop electrical surge balls from messing with the power. And there's actually an interesting piece of information. Later in the game, after, spoiler alert, Sonya becomes a harp note. After that fact, if you jump into her transer, view her secret message, she says that she's secretly harp note and wants to help protect the world. But if you do it at this point, it'll say that same exact text, despite the fact that she hasn't become harp note yet. And so it's just a programming oversight.
Yeah, so sorry. So I think you can tell the story of Sonya when you have time. Well, I will say at the current moment.
Yeah, it's basically her story is she used to sing with her mom when she was a kid. Then her mom died, and so she wanted to live on in her mom's memory. So she wanted to become a singer. And so she started singing for, she originally started out just singing for people in her town, but then a guy hired her to sing for a company. And basically that guy is your typical manager where all he wants is the money, and she just wants to sing for people. So that's why she ran away from him. So we're just going to assist her because she wants what's good and he just wants money. And that's actually where the next EM body comes in, known as Harp, or Lyra in the English version for some reason. Basically, Sonya feels sad that her manager is abusing her, basically, and using her for money. And so Lyra takes over Sonya and tricks her into thinking that using her power and destroying Earth will allow her to be free. But of course, as anyone can guess, that she gets talked out of that. But other than that, it's pretty simple. The storyline from the anime is exactly the same. Her story is pretty much similar.
I have one question from Shaliadson. I pronounced that right. He says, do you think that it's fine Star Force only got 3 games?
Personally, yes. Star Force 3 ended just like I wanted it to, so I'm fine with there only being 3. You pretty much got the ending you've been playing 3 games for, so I'm happy.
Well, pretty much, maybe I would have liked it there was maybe an Star Force 4, but I think in Star Force 3 the goal was met, so I don't know if there was some kind of material for Star Force 4. So I think the 3 games are really good.
Like, without a doubt, pretty sure Capcom could have come up with something, but we're talking about, like, were we happy with it? I personally was alright with it. Alright with it ending, personally. I got the ending I wanted. That's what a game should achieve.
Yeah, pretty much. Silver, I'm going AFK for a moment, and System Lockup is asking you, what do you think of Star Force 2 in BRB?
Alright, so you may not know, but I did a run of Star Force 2, and I did some routing of it, because I believe that what Bash was doing originally wasn't faster. And I like all of the Star Force games. They're all really good, and really well done, and overseen by a lot of people. People, I believe, just play these, like the first one, it's like, oh, well, this isn't Battle Network, and then they quit playing, without giving it its own fair chance. I love them all, they're all really good games, I recommend you play them all, and if you have the ability to, the Japanese versions have some pretty interesting content as well, especially Star Force 3. And while I'm speaking of Japanese differences, Star Force 1 actually has a nerfed Japanese version, where the Japanese version is actually slower than the English version, which is why I'm not playing on it. The Japanese version has different blue wave data placement, which are those things you've seen me pick up a lot, and then cipher codes are also non-existent. So, yeah, it's overall slower, but I do have a copy the Japanese version that I got for $4 on eBay. And then most of my English copies I paid like $10 for. And then I've got English and Japanese Star Force 2, and then I've got an English and Japanese copy of Star Force 3. But I've got 2 copies of Japanese Star Force 3, actually. I've got Red Joker and Black Ace. And that was mainly to mess with the Noise Kaizo Wave stuff, which is the Japanese exclusive stuff, if you don't know. And I could probably show that off later, though I'll probably just be mentioning it during MC Power's Star Wars 3 run. I'll just be going over that information, most likely, just because I don't really feel like it would deserve its own section. The amount of content it's seemingly a lot, but really isn't, so...
Okay, I am back.
Alright. I just explained some of the English and Japanese differences, and then I went over Star Force 2.
Well, I wasn't here when you were explaining that, but I don't think there is a big difference between Japanese and English version. Maybe only the text and the frames, maybe.
Japanese version of Star Force 1 had less cipher codes and different blue wave data placement. Japanese Star Force 2 has almost no difference. The English and Japanese versions are pretty identical. The only difference is, of course, the obvious text.
Pretty much. Which
could be faster by frames. If you actually wanted to do the bot commands in chat, that would be nice. Help explain some of the stuff. I went and wrote some pages for information on Star Force 1 through 3, and then a general FAQ for those who may be interested.
So there is information about the 3 Star Force games. Silver did that about the 3 Star Force game. It has more information or more questions that you can ask about those 3 games.
Yeah, not everything is covered there. I just got what I would assume people just up here would ask about. And then when I made those initially, I asked Vash and NC Power if they wanted me to add anything. And pretty much what's on there is what we could all think of so far. So we brought the power back up. Now we're going to talk to Sonia. She said that she wants to talk to us up on the roof, so we're going to go to the roof. And this is basically where she tells you her backstory about her mom, and that she just wants to sing for everyone. And then she insists we go back home and relax. So we're just going to head home. Oh, getting stuck on a guy. Happens a lot when I'm trying to leave this area. Alright, so we're just gonna head back, and once we head back, we'll get a nice little cutscene because stuff goes down. And then we start the actual bulk of the next scenario, which actually isn't long at all. The bulk of what's gonna happen are just the stopping musical notes from hitting me, which is fairly simple on a console. Basically, Sonia turns it a harp note, and then uses her guitar and musical notes to make people pass out. And because of such, we have to stop her, because, yeah. So, we're just gonna go chase after her. This isn't exactly annoying. The music notes are pretty easy to get rid of if you've got a certain strategy for firing. Normally you can just blind fire and be okay, or you can just sit here and wait for them to get close enough. But what I do is I just sit here and repeat in 2 squares, and the way that this works is your buster shots actually travel without actually showing up on screen. So they basically fire down a line and then keep going until they go off screen, essentially. As long as that shot technically exists on the screen, the music notes will get hit by them, even if I'm not firing on that square anymore. So I just rapidly move around them to keep the buster shots from disappearing and shooting more notes than what they're expecting you to shoot.
I hate this person.
So now type of viruses are showing up in these areas. Mainly my nemesis, the time bomb virus.
Yeah, in Star Force 3, in the last scenario is very annoying, the time bomb.
These guys have they just overstay their welcome a lot.
Someone is asking you, Dash of Speed is asking you about what is your favorite suite from Sony?
What is my favorite what?
Suite. I think he means address, something like that.
I don't know, I've got so many of them. Oh, I bought something I didn't need. I've got more pictures than I'm willing to admit, I'll just say that. So, unlike what most people assume, no, I do not have any Rule 34. It's not art, it's not creative, so why would I have it? Usually my streams, when I stream, there's always a picture of her on stream. And then there's always a picture of her on my Twitter. And I've been asked a few times how I get so many of the pictures, and there's a very simple answer to that. Japanese sites. Knowing how to search Japanese photo sharing sites is probably the most useful thing I've ever learned.
And also DeviantArt, maybe.
DeviantArt is, well, I don't know what else to really say at that place, because a lot of the artists on there get pretty weird.
Oh yeah, I have seen some kind of weird pictures.
Let's just say I was in a Skype call once with some friends that I usually blind race games with, and one of them thought it would be funny to intentionally search for pictures of her on DeviantArt and Rule 34 sites and try to link them to me. And it's pretty disturbing. People get really weird on the internet. But people who actually try to make decent pictures come out really good. Like, if you go to my Twitter, the picture I'm using for my avatar right now is actually hand-drawn and really good. Not by me, of course, by someone I'm following, but...
Yeah, I have seen so many of your pictures of them. They are really cool.
I wish I could draw. That would be really cool. So, basically, I was talking over it, but I went and bought as many HP memories from the first store there as I could, and now my HP is 200. Basically just to ensure my health over being destroyed. And I'll buy some more in the next area, because or the next scenario rather. But that's basically what all the money goes towards until the end of the game, where I have to spend 3,000 on juice. And that's all you have to do in regards of helping someone else out. So we chase her over here, and then she runs away to Anakin, so we have to go over there. And from this scenario, there's actually a pretty questionable quote I made during my first run. When after the part where you pick up Sonya and take her over to Aaron, Sunset asked me if I was, said, isn't that kidnapping? You're basically taking her away from her legal guardian and giving her to some random guy she's never met. And my response to that was, it's not kidnapping if they want it.
He's taking care of her. Pretty much. That sounds weird, kidnapping her.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and I still laugh about it because it was pretty funny. So this virus combo is annoying. This Thunder guy.
Good morning.
Good morning, MC.
What's up? You're just in time for waifu?
Yes.
Wi-Fi person.
I'm just about to fight Harp Note.
Every time I fight Harpno, it hurts my heart, and then like I don't want to hurt her. But Silver is going to hurt her right now, so he will feel really sad.
So, MC, why don't you explain who you are real quick?
I'm Empty Power. I am the speedrunner of Star Wars 3. I'm not exactly the best speedrunner out there, but I guess I'm decent.
You
Don't worry.
make up for it with your accent. It's alright.
You're going to lose.
Yes, I do.
Really good.
I also have an Australian accent, if you haven't noticed already.
Which is what the one hard thing about scheduling this was he's in a completely opposite time zone to us, so scheduling is fun.
Pretty much. You're going to do fine MC in Star Force 3, so don't worry.
And then if you want to see some extra Star Force content, after the marathon is over, we'll be having a poll. I'm not sure in what way, shape, or form, but you'll be able to choose which bonus content you want. And I can show off the Skydragon SP fight. Vaj can show off some IF fights in the post-game Star Force 2. And then, if you want, you can have me and Vash race the R bosses back to back to back in Star Force 3. Sure,
The only thing that I don't remember in Star Force 3 the R bosses is some kind of the locations. I don't remember that. Like, I haven't played in a
They're
while.
pretty simple.
Oh, okay.
I can assist you in finding them if you get lost.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, we can do that. We can, in Star Force 2, I can show you the secret area. In Star Force 3, we can do a race of the R bosses to kill each R boss.
Fucking that one. Alright. So, as amazing as it sounds, I'm actually having a terrible fight. She interrupted 3 of my attacks. Also having bad draws.
I'm currently ahead or behind schedule.
We are behind. Way
We are
behind.
kind of behind.
We are an hour and 10 behind.
Ouch.
Yeah. Through no fault of anyone's own, Sunset.
Sunset. I was going to say Sunset. I wasn't watching Sunset, but I think he was kinda having problems in his run.
Yeah, he was having some issues. Alright. So, I still saved time, believe it or not, despite that terrible, terrible fight.
How much time did you save?
I'm now 4 minutes and 34 seconds ahead.
World record.
And then the next scenario basically unlocks the Star Break ability. And now here's the first unskippable cutscene, so I'm just gonna be mashing A and B.
And drink something while you can.
Oh, no. No thanks. Oh, and look at the beautiful name of the file, NFC.
Gok Gok.
Yep.
Who is? Captain.
The Geo's name is Gok Gok. Probably the easiest to input out of all of the ones that were donated for.
I was wanting the name to be Nita Hawk. That was really good.
Yeah, I was kind of pulling for that one. So, basically at that point, Geo has an interior monologue with himself where he acts as if his dad was telling him what to do. And brother bands in this game basically act as your Navicust, because you don't actually get one. So, Sonia gives me undershirt and barrier.
Answering your question, like Effetsor, no, Cygnus Green and Wolf weren't bosses. They were optional fights in the Star Force 3. Also, Wolf was an optional fight also in Star Force 2. or no?
Yeah, and,
in Star Force 1, in Star Force 1. I mean, Star Force 1.
Yeah, Crown Thunder and Wolf Woods appear after you beat the game, but they're nothing really too special. So
I think Wolf appears before you beat the game in a certain time.
he might, though. I only went after him after I beat the game. So
Yeah, he appears before.
Also,
So-
I've got to tell, I haven't practiced at all for Star Force 3 speedrun, so that's going to go out very well.
oh, don't worry, neither did Sunset. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I told him he will be fine, but sometimes you can be really nervous. Like I was kind of nervous before, but I don't care that much right now. But when I am doing the speedrun, I don't know what is going to happen. So continue.
If I remember right. Oh wait, no, that's right. I'm supposed to be going towards. So basically, at the end of that scenario, my necklace, or Gio's necklace, was acting up, and he wants to go figure out what it was. So originally, we were going to go ask Aaron, but Luna decided to stop us before the bus and force us to come to school. So now we're in the school, and we'll be here for maybe like 2 minutes. We're just going to come up here into the gym, up to the stage. A jammer is going to attack. We pulse in, and we fight the jammer, and then we leave. And what's interesting is despite the fact that there's a jammer on the net, or not the net, the waves, there's no panic theme that plays.
I remember this scene, like that when Gio is trying to fake to be someone that he is. Like it was kinda troll that scene. I don't know if you can skip that scene.
Nope. You can skip pretty much any cutscene, and now you're gonna see me stand here because this fight is unwinnable. So I'm just gonna stand here, let him beat the tar out of me. Nothing really too interesting. He's just gonna punch me and shoot me for a bit. And there we go. So, like I said, that's unwinnable, so there's no point in firing at him. We do get to kill him later, though. So, forward to that. Get our revenge.
Revenge!
We managed to narrowly escape dying. So, now that we've survived death, we're gonna go tell Luna we want to get the hell out of here. Now that she tells us we can just go, as long as we show up tomorrow, we're gonna go see Aaron about the necklace. So, come here and talk to Aaron. He tells us nothing of any use. And so, I can't remember at what point, like, makes us think to go to the roof, but you need to go to the roof. And then, in the cutscene we skip, the satellite guardians appear. Apparently the necklace was them trying to contact me. So, basically we have to take upon their quest, or their test, rather, to prove that we're worthy of obtaining the star break. So we're now going to pulse in and do 5 fights to prove that we're worthy. And then we get to fight the Satellite Guardian that is based on your version, so I'm going to be fighting Sky Dragon. and really early virus. It's that's okay, I dealt with.
I think are you doing that trials?
I will be starting soon.
Okay. I think you were doing the trials.
After this first guy, I'm gonna stop by the store that's literally just to my left and buy March memories. So right there, as you could probably see, Sonia's picture showed up in my battle cards. And because brother bands in this game add a battle card, and basically when you choose it, you get a roulette, and random cards come from it. And most of what Sonia's cards are recovery, barrier, and then a few attacks. So there's Starling one. Up here and get some HP memories. Don't want to buy a chain bubble.
Hitaka no, I know in the Star Force 2, I don't know if you mean the anime, but I don't know if you mean the anime or the game, but no, there is another thing in the Star Force 2.
The anime is really weird because, and I'm not really afraid of spoiling anything, by the way, just to let you guys know. In the anime, Rogue actually, or Barai rather, actually dies. And they just kind of, they don't go with that in the games.
So, he dies in that, I didn't know that. Saber.
He, basically, the way in the anime is, instead of Mu appearing on Earth, a portal to Mu opens, and when Geo goes Tri-King and stops Limu, it tries to escape anyway, and to close the gate, Barai jumps in there to push Limu back, and Limu explodes while the gate closes, and so it's kind of just assumed that he died.
Wow. You didn't hit any thunder with the dragon scan.
Yeah, I forgot how it worked. I was kind of hoping it would just go in front of me, but that it goes towards the middle, like the rest of them.
For that reason, I told you the last time that I like kind of more Queen of Fusion. Because she covers more panels.
So hopefully this will get the flame wheel in with it. Alright. Let me just get this big guy over here and deal with. He's not that big, he's not that difficult, so. Just get lucky and freeze him or put him in a bubble again. There we go.
Destroy is really easy.
So these are relatively simple. They're just jokes of virus fights, basically, and that's about it.
Pretty much.
Gonna get rid of that guy because he heals viruses, and we don't want him to be healing our enemies. So.
Oh. The power sounds something like that virus.
Yeah.
Yeah, really annoying.
And we will be switching weapons pretty soon, because we're going to pick up a different weapon called the Z Finder, which gives us an attack of 3, a rapid of 2, and a charge of 3, and basically turns all of our rewards into Zenny, which we use to buy more H memories.
Oh yeah, the Z Finder. Yeah, I understood that. The Z Finder, the card finder.
Yeah, there's a different one that basically does the same thing except finds battle cards.
Yeah. Actually, I can explain a little of that because, well, there in Star Force there is, like Silver said, there are weapons instead of the navicles in the Battle Networks. You can have the C Finder, the Z Finder that you can get Zenith in every battle, and the C Finder that is the Cat Finder that you will get in every time some battle cards. It depends on the battle.
Yeah, it basically manipulates the drop rates. Like I mentioned before, where the game basically decided throwing a dart wherever it lands. That's basically the drop table, and it just goes with it. The card finder and Z finder basically manipulate that and turn all of the drop tables into that.
I don't remember if there are abilities in Star Force 1. Are there abilities in Star Force 1?
No, there are not.
No. Oh, it starts in Star Force 1.
Which is why the brother bands do those things.
Yeah. My bad. Continue.
Forgot what I was saying. We pick up a free HP memory here. Let's see, what was I trying to mention?
Sorry, I interrupted you when you were saying...
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So, I'm actually going to use Harp Note here to get rid of, or attack the Time Bomb guy, because he's more annoying than the Big Sword. At least, personally, I think he's more annoying. Oh, now I remember what I was trying to do. So, the card finder is really good for 100% because it manipulates all the battles to choose the card drops instead of Zenny, so there's no chance of you getting Zenny.
Oh yeah. But doing a Star Force 100% will be really annoying. Yeah,
my Japanese copy, I put 37 hours into it to get 100%. So now we get to fight a Satellite Guardian, but to be safe, beforehand I'm gonna save. But I got into a virus battle right before, so we gotta do this.
I think for the 100%, one of the most annoying things to do is trying to get the crown X, crown SP, and the Dragon Sky X in this game.
Yeah, all of Crown Thunder's cards are really stupid because you have to delete him in a certain amount of time, not get hurt, and his attacks are so stupid.
Oh yeah. You get a lot of damage also with the SP version, like it does an insane amount of damage that you can barely survive if you don't know you don't know the pattern of his attacks.
Wow. Holy... So, I drew Leo Kingdom SP on Dragon Sky, and then used the sword, countered him, and got Leo Kingdom SP from it.
Wow!
That's just an example of the RNG from counter hits.
Let me see that. I'm going to see that. Wow! Oh my god, dude. You should highlight that.
Well, I'm not the one in charge of highlighting. So, now that we've done that, we're just gonna go to bed, because sleep. And I lost some time on that because of a lot of encounters that weren't necessary. So I lost almost a minute on that split, but not really too worried about that. So, now it's the next day, and Jujo's mom comes in the room and says, "You're going to school? Get up, just go." So now we're gonna go to school. And this is actually the shortest build-up to a scenario. So now that we're in school, we gotta go to where our classroom is and meet everyone. talk to everyone in the room.
Someone is asking you, is Leo more difficult?
Is what more difficult?
Leo Kingdom.
I don't know. Like I said, I only 100%ed the Dragon version. I had the Leo version as a kid, but never 100%ed it. Because, like I mentioned prior in the marathon, everyone got upset about, is there was a shield in the game originally. So, a lot of the fights were a huge hassle for me as a kid. Because I wasn't exactly the smartest person.
No comment about that. Well, for me, it was more easy. Like, I have only played the Pegasus version. Pegasus Magic is in that phase is too easy. Like for example, if you get a fire kick 3, it isn't a challenge for you, pretty much. The Dragon Sky, it doesn't seem that hard.
If you guys want to see me fight that, you can put it in the poll for, I think we're up to $700, so the first 7 in the bonus poll will get in. If you want to see me possibly die at a Dragon Sky SP, you can vote for that in the poll.
You are so positive, isn't it?
Oh, I practiced it, and I died. When he had 80 HP.
80?
So.
Wow. Well, at least it was way more better than your freshman fight happened.
Well, I had 30 HP going into that fight. I had full HP going into this one.
Dude, that was the best moment ever that I have seen you doing.
Alright, so kind of just lost there because I skip everything, but yeah, stuff happened. The teacher turns out to be the evil guy. I don't remember what he was, because like I mentioned before, every human has to have going through some form of emotion to be able to be taken over. And I don't remember what was with the teacher. I think he was mad. I believe, and this is probably incorrect, I think he was almost fired or something.
Yeah, he was going to get fired because he was teaching in a different way that other teachers can teach. Like for example, in this case, the director, he didn't like it that way he was teaching. So he said, hey, you have to teach this way. Like you have to do according to the rules of the school, and like he didn't like it that way, and he says, okay, if you don't do it this way, I am going to fire you. And he was thinking of his kids because he was working to earn money to keep his kids, something like that. To maintain, I think is the word.
So, while we were talking about that, I entered basically the Starbreak tutorial. We finally get our revenge moment against the jammer who beat the crap out of us earlier. Oh dude, I countered him. So, I basically learned how to turn into Dragon, or use the Starbreak, and every Starbreak has an ability where if you counter, you get a special attack. Dragon is Elemental Cyclone, which is used in Star Force 2 and 3 as well, but named differently, if I remember correctly. But
yeah, the Element Cyclone in Star Force 2 will be Ninja in this case.
Yeah, it's Ninja's special.
I think it's kinda different. I don't remember if that is the same.
Let's get rid of that now. On wave 2. So, in this next scenario is one particular annoying fight is Libra Scales. He has 2 different elements. You can have water or fire, and then he just likes to spam attacks. And he's got one really weird attack that makes it look like he's about to hit you, so your reaction is to block it.
Oh,
but the attack actually just drops a weight from the ceiling, so you're blocking and then you make yourself into a sitting duck.
Yeah, I remember those times.
It's a really annoying attack, and I really dislike it. And I used to mention how annoying he was to fight, and so to make a point, Method lowered his health to 1 HP, and then did the fight just to shut me up.
Wow, shots fired.
That was what he did. He lowered his health to 1 HP and then did the fight without getting hurt. Though I think it took him like 3 tries. Now, here I'm actually in the comp, the school comps. Now, the gimmick of this is there's these totems that are firing quizzes at you, and you have to answer them correctly. And answering it incorrectly, you take damage. It's faster to just mash and just go through the text rather than to choose which one's correct. So I'm just always going to be holding a direction and pressing A.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't matter which answer you choose.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in the long run. And then, like, if you were here for Sunset, he talked about how in Battle Network 5 in the drill comps, when you're on the drill, the game is programmed, okay, you're on something where we don't want to give you an encounter, but your walk frames continue to count upwards, and that's the same falls into this, so I can't get an encounter while I'm going through those areas, but my walk frames continue to count, so I can get an encounter the second that area is complete.
Yeah, I remember this. BRB, son buenos annoying.
Right? Been getting pretty good luck with these virus encounters. Hopefully I won't have to worry too much about my situation. And there's one more time where we'll be spending a lot of money to get HP memories, and it's in another 2 scenarios, so... Hopefully I don't mess up this next area like I did in my Prox run. I forgot where one of the things I'm supposed to be going for was, and so I just wandered around for a bit. Like an idiot. It's actually possible to counter that guy the second he starts shooting a bubble, but it's a really small frame. It's a very small window for it. So I'm there. So let's go that way. And these fire bazooka guys are also the dirt worst, so I'm gonna be getting rid of them as fast as possible as well. Oh, and unlike Battle Network games, your Buster doesn't have an element. So, like, I've got M-Breath. So you'd think we'd be doing water-based damage, but I don't. When you use your Starbreak ability, however, you do get Elemental Buster. I'm getting destroyed here, so I'm gonna heal myself, and then... Oh, that guy took cover behind his friend. So, if people are asking questions, I can't see them because I don't have the chat open. for various reasons. So we'll have to wait for Bash to come back. For safety's sake, after this fight I'm gonna save. If I don't die, that is.
Okay, Silver. There's something in the chat wondering what's world record pace right now.
I'm currently 3 minutes and 38 seconds ahead of world record. So,
That's really good.
yeah, well, my old run was pretty bad. Despite being deathless, my PB isn't that great.
How long is this run?
Well, my PB is 3 hours and 38 minutes. So, we've got about 2 hours left. Tailburner too. Should probably put that in at some point. Alright, so here's the final comp of this area. Let's hope and pray I don't get lost. Yeah, the duration of this scenario just seems like it's long because of the questions, but once you just... If what you're doing is like me and just ignoring them and just taking the damage, then it's pretty fast. So, as you can see, I got rid of the wide wave there. And that's because wide wave 2s, unlike the original, can move around to decide where they want to attack, and so they get pretty annoying. So I just get rid of him because he's annoying. Simple as that. And Sticky Rain is really good because it's 30 damage, hit 5 times, and then it can it targets enemies, so... As you can see there, I got a triple delete with it. And I'm being really safe here because of the amount of health I have. The last thing I'd want is to die. So now we've just got one more of these gates to get rid of, and then we can go fight Libra. I hope somebody in the chat is at least entertained by this. The game is really interesting. Or for those who haven't played it because you just don't like the look of the game, or don't like the way the game works at all, this might be like an interesting way to quote-unquote play it without actually playing it. So... and we'll get rid of the wide wave too.
Okay, okay, I'm back, sorry.
Don't worry about it, we're about to fight Libra.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It's because I was getting some food that I haven't eaten all the day.
That's probably going to be something I get when I'm done, because I'm going to grab my soda and then go get something to eat.
Like, I have some pizza here.
Hey, Drive Key.
Wow. So earlier I was just talking about how small the frame is, how small the window is to counter a chain bubble, and I managed to do it just on pure accident.
It happens to me too. Like, it's kinda hard to do it.
And then I got a bonus from the fight as a full recovery. And that can happen sometimes, even when you're at a high amount of health, you can get a reward like that from a battle. Unlike in Battle Network, where it tends to only happen when you're at low HP. In this, it can happen at any point.
Nice way to start Libre. I am going to be here. I am going to be eating, but I will be here watching and listening to you.
Alright. So we got stick pain, so we're gonna do it while he's in fire because it does more damage. There's the attack that I was talking about where it just stomps, but it looks like you should block it. So let's... Whoa. Teleported. It's fast. Alright, so I saved a minute. That's pretty decent. And now, after this is where I killed my run on accident last time. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
It won't happen again, believe me.
So now I'm going to edit my folder again real quick because I've got some decent battle cards. Throw those in real quick. We're going to head to class. And talk to everyone again. And once everyone's gone, we need to go to the studio.
Here he has clicking and 25 HP is for the brother band.
Yeah, at certain points in the game, your brother band powers up, and you get a bit more HP from it. And then it also powers up again in a later point in the game, which I'm not going to spoil.
Yes, he just did the Libra 5.
Yeah, Libra fight's nothing too special. It's kind of a joke, but it's annoying sometimes, but for the most part it's a joke.
I was going to say that he is annoying.
So, now there's a jammer attacking the school again, so we gotta go find him. And I think it's worth noting in my PB, during this part in the game I actually found a gold mystery wave. So, I had to go out of my way to pick that up. Yeah, it was only a barrier 200, but it was a gold mystery wave nonetheless.
Nice.
Got a counter when I didn't mean to. So, the jammer's in a room upstairs, so we gotta go upstairs. So there we got green ink, and that's really useful, especially if you're playing on Dragon, because hitting a virus with the green ink spawns 3x3 grass panels, and if you're standing on grass panels as Dragon, you heal. So, very useful. So we come here because this is where the jammer ran away to. But we found him, and he ran away again. But this time he was headed to where Luna was, so we're gonna pulse out, because it's faster, and then pulse back in, go to where Luna was. Oh, I accidentally went into the wrong room, went into a room trying to go through a warp. Alright. So now we get to fight another jammer. Because these guys just run around like they own the place. Yeah, thank you, Company. Take this. So basically Luna got attacked by the jammer, and now we're just gonna ignore her for a little bit while we go shopping. And somehow we're in another area without moving. So we're gonna go over here first to get an HP. Mem 10. We're gonna talk to Sonia. I go inside the mall and talk to her again. gonna go upstairs and grab the Z Finder from a vending machine. Flip it. Now we're gonna go check out the reptile house. And I was messing with this yesterday, and I thought you had to read all these signs and talk to everyone here. Turns out you have to read all signs and talk to only a specific set of people. So I'm gonna read all these signs and talk to only a certain people. This guy being one of them. This guy being another. This guy being the last. Up here. Down with the big snake. And there we are. And now basically Luna is at the mall throwing a fit that we didn't invite her, so we're gonna go calm her down.
She's kinda jealous because I think you are with Sonia. Yeah, you are with Sonia in this scenario, and you didn't invite her.
Yeah, and so basically, while we're on our way to calm her down, an FMian comes and shows up, and it's like, hey, this person's mad, I can take over. And so now we've got another person to deal with. And she used snakes to block our way in, so we have to get on the EM road to get inside the reptile house now.
Metro he's saying, Metro is saying that don't forget to save, and who else? Tribe King is saying, you mean you were never attacked by snakes on your first date? Was I the only one? Okay.
I'll save once I get into an actual danger area, which is the next comp, which is where my run died. Literally in front of the boss. I got an encounter running to the boss, and that's where I died, and rip run.
You say hi to the boss, and then you say goodbye to the boss. Pretty much.
We come up here, because the giant snake is actually a robot. And Luna goes crazy, and we run away. Now we need to find a way to get to Sonia because she's been trapped by snakes. We talk to this freak who tells us that the guy in charge of the temperature ran away, and if we can find him, we can get the tempo card to make the temperature in the area cold so the snakes stop attacking. So now we're just gonna go find the guy. And that NPC right there is like my orange shirt guy. That is my nemesis, that one NPC. I hate him so much.
Alright, well, if this is a good time, this is a reminder that we are raising funds for Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders is an international medical humanitarian organization created by doctors and journalists in France in 1971. Today, Doctors Without Borders provides independent and impartial assistance to more than 60 countries to people whose life is threatened by crisis or catastrophe. Primarily due to armed conflict, epidemics, malnutrition, exclusion from healthcare, or natural disasters. We still have a couple of bidding wars going on in Star Force 3 between Sonia's bag, saving Bud's shirt, or saving Luna's tissue. And there's also $10 bonus crossover cutscene for Mega Man Star Force 1, which only costs $10 to meet the goal. If you want to donate, it's in the schedule in the name of the stream, and somebody could probably link it in the chat.
I already put that, but it's okay.
Yeah, the encounter rate killing me.
If this encounter rate is getting you mad, just wait until it starts posting.
By far, Star Force 2 and 3 are more interesting runs just because of the amount of stuff you get to use in that. This one's just kind of how long can you survive.
But the encounter rate in Star Force 2 is the most bad thing that I have ever seen in my life.
So, using Sky Dragon is a good way to get rid of the big sword guys. Because you have to coax them into even being able to be damaged. And they've got 2 frames where they're still standing in their initial spot and can be damaged, so I just trick them into getting out of their armor, and then I just use Sky Dragon on them. And here's another unskippable cutscene. Folder in here. Now we're gonna go to Scepter.
So you can say in this time, you can say about Luna's story.
She's a terrible human being. That's all you need to know. She doesn't really have a story. They don't go too in-depth about her, other than the fact that dream is to be class president, and that's all she strives for.
There is also another fact, like she was feeling alone because her parents didn't pay her much attention. She was usually in her home, and she was really alone. Like she was feeling really alone, and the only 3 persons that she was kind of friend, it was Boot, Zack, and Jill, and she liked more Jill. And she was feeling also kind of jealous that Jill was like in a date with Sonny. So you can mix that with her being alone, and she was possessed by Queen of Beauty.
This is gonna sound bad, but I honestly can't feel sympathy for people who grew up getting everything they wanted.
I don't know, to be honest. Sorry. It is part of her story. Like I don't blame if that is something good or bad. Like it's part of the story of Luna.
I understand, but like people who like grew up with rich parents that got whatever they wanted, and then they feel bad that like, oh, I couldn't have this or this. It's like, yeah, but you do realize that your childhood was like 100 times better than mine. Like, you got away with doing anything you wanted, you got everything you wanted. I really can't feel inclined to feel bad for you.
Well, she was, I think the only fact that she was feeling alone, that's all I can say.
So here, the gimmick of these comps are, we have to rescue herds that are poisoned, so we gotta take antidotes. But at the same time, there are these giant snakes hiding in these bushes. If we get hit, we get poisoned as well. Now, a lot of the times, it's just faster to get hit by the snakes and get poisoned than to try and avoid them. And when we take the antidote back to the herds, he shares it with us, so we get the poison healed anyways. And then he removes the gate blocking us from advancing. Down my stylus now. This whole time I've been holding my stylus. That really leaves an indent in my skin. I don't have a normal DS stylus, I use a 3DS one. So it's fat and leaves an indent in my skin, holding it so long.
I use a mouse as a stylus, Kappa.
Yeah, because you're an MU sub, Kappa B.
You are some.
Yeah, that's just one thing that I dislike is I'm not really against emulators, I just dislike using them myself. And I find emulators rather tedious to set up, and it's more of a hassle than it's worth. Especially a DS emulator. Those are really annoying and finicky and don't work on a lot of computers.
The only problem that I can see that the emulator is the touchscreen, pretty much.
Yeah, the touchscreen's a huge issue on computers, because, you know, computer. The mouse. Unless you have a touchscreen computer, then that's really convenient. You got a touchscreen computer, you're pretty set.
I find the mouse to be better.
Yeah, my roommate has a touchscreen computer, and that thing's a real pain to use. So, I think I might have. No?
Don't forget to save, Silo, just in case.
Yeah, I was going the wrong way. 'Cause I saved before when I entered this area. I just went the wrong way because I'm a champ. Good at video games.
As always.
Also, I hope the money for this name was worth it, getting to be displayed 90% of the run. And then one fun thing about this is if I start a cutscene before the snake finishes going back into the bush, you get to see it during the cutscene, sitting there chomping away. And upcoming are 2 herds that I have to heal this time. So I have to go back and forth twice. Yeah.
I think for example the only comp that I really hated in Speedrun is well, in a casual gameplay I will say is the trash comp.
Yeah, finding the buried herds is rather annoying.
No, I mean because you will have to look. Yeah, you have to look for the herds, and in your first playthrough you won't have an idea where the herds are, and it's a big hurry. Like it was really annoying.
Yeah, and the herds that are looking for their friends give you like a hint as to where they are, but it's not even close to where. Like the hint, it's like, oh, he likes this and this. They're not even close to that stuff.
Yeah, it isn't even close.
Oh well, no, I'm intelligent. So that's one of the cases where it's faster to wait for the snakes to go by. Here's another one, but that's because this is HP memory, and I got hit. I really shouldn't have. So I really shouldn't have been poisoned this time. Now we get to go back because this friend is still poisoned.
Yes, Mr. Dragon, this is un escenario. And I don't know about your question, Dan Mavi. Like, I don't know how a snake can think. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they have some form of brain.
Dragon, you are so sick, dude. A snake wife, please.
So these viruses right here are the reason why my run died. Why my practice run died. These guys are the dirt worst. Not only do almost every battle that involves them have grass panels, so they heal second, but they also can hit two squares. And they like to just move around rapidly. So they are the worst virus in this game. Down.
Oh, those viruses, yeah.
Absolute trash. And then the next comp is the final one in this area. For safety's sake, I'm gonna save once I enter this one too. And the in-game time is fairly accurate. Like right there, it said the in-game time was 2 hours and 11 minutes. My timer is at 2:12, so it's fairly accurate.
Pretty much.
Do-do. If you're wondering why I'm talking to the hertz, each one of them, it's because if I don't, when I try to go into the area to get the antidote, Geo will say, like, there's a hertz right there, maybe I should talk to him. So now we're coming up to the final set of hertz, and I'm going to save again, because this is where we're coming up to where I lost my practice run. So, good height. There's also a very good chance of a huge time save here. I'm not going to say how much, but it should be pretty decent.
Like 2 minutes? Or more?
I'm not gonna say. Once I kill the boss. It's a secret for now.
Okay.
Make it in time. It's also faster to hide from those snakes as well. Another example where if I get to here fast enough, you just get to watch the snake chomp in the background of the cutscene. Alright, so that's all the hertz healed, and now we get to fight the boss. with 75 HP, which is completely doable.
You get the kingdom and you feel strong? Pretty much.
I have practiced all of these bosses with low HP. Like, I think I've practiced every boss with like 20 HP. It's possible to do it with low HP. Perfect. Good draw. So basically, her main tactic is to use snakes and go into the back row. So anything that can attack the back row is good. She's also grass element, as you can tell. She also occasionally fires a laser, but it's really easy to dodge. As I say that, I'm probably going to get hit by it.
You got hit? Wow.
No, I'm just saying,
Okay.
chances are I'm going to get hit by it. Well, I got hit, but I had my barrier, so...
Wow, you get the kingdom and you feel strong. What a lucky.
Wow, the snakes are taking the fall. Alright, so that's that fight down. So, I saved 3 minutes
Wow.
from that. Just that alone. Now we're coming up to another unseeable cutscene where I form a brother band with the useless Luna. But basically there's
You are so mean, dude.
the next scenario is basically the last one before the end of the game.
Whoa, that bazooka, dude.
Yeah, the snake took the fall.
Yeah, pretty much.
And all this, the text I'm skipping is Luna talking about how she wants to form a brother band with Mega Man, not Geo.
Oh, can you
So-
can you explain this scenario, or should I explain it?
The next one or the one that I just did?
The one that you just did.
Oh, I was explaining it while I was going through it.
No, you didn't. Right.
I summed it up. I mean, there's not really too much to go into detail about. Basically, she got butthurt, so...
No, I mean she discovered who is the real identity of Mega Man.
Oh yeah, she found out that Geo was Mega Man, and she got upset about it. Okay, so now we are entering territory where there may be L button strats. Just maybe.
Notes.
Oh, I don't have the kind of notes for this. My notes consist of cipher codes. That's it.
Wow. Dragoon is saying that Luna is the best female in Star Wars.
Yeah, well, everyone has their bad opinions. So, now we go to Times Square, and people are unusually being annoying and getting angry at each other here. So, we wonder if it's something different, someone's affecting it, and it turns out there's a jammer in the area affecting people's emotions. So, he's hoaxing the FMians to take over normal humans. So, we're gonna go and get rid of him.
Who could that be, dude? Oh no. I think you're almost in the final part of the game, maybe.
Yeah, just after the scenario. Be starting the final.
Yeah, this scenario is kinda long. I remember this.
The setup for it is kind of long.
Yeah, like you have to do many useless things just to get to the scenario.
Alright, and then in the final scenario there's actually one fight that I dread the most, and it is the worst fight in the entire game. I am talking about the triple jammer fight.
Oh yeah, that fight can go really bad in some occasions.
It's basically a fight with 3 jammer 3s. And as you can imagine, that does get pretty hectic.
Yes,
so if
Pegasus Magic.
Yeah, it does a pretty good job. And then you can also use the ink to hit one of the jammers when they're up in your face, and then turn into dragon so you constantly recover HP.
That's a good idea also. And you won't be able to die.
Pretty much. So, now everyone's calmed down. Yada yada. So, we try to head home, and then we meet up with a classmate by the name of Pat. Just so happens to be here after the jammer. And then he's like, hey, I've got this cool place to show you. And so we blindly follow some guy we only know from school. And this seems like the most off place in the entire game, but is the most... You'll probably visit this place a lot more than any other area in the game. Well, aside from Anakin, which you go to quite a bit. Dream Island and Anakin are probably the most visited areas in the entire game, because they're just part of heavy plot points. So basically he wants to show us the dump, which I don't know why. I mean, the dump. Nothing really too special, but whatever. Each their own, I guess. So we get a series of cutscenes back and forth with only a small walking segment. And we end up pulsing in because there's a virus infecting the dump, so we gotta go find them. And this is where we'll be buying more HP memories. The last few set of HP memories we'll be getting. Right, so now my HP is 470. Go into this antenna here. And then we fight we fight a Jammer 2, and then we fight G-viruses, basically.
I don't remember if Pat was in Star Force 3. I don't remember,
He is
to be honest.
not.
No, he is not, maybe. But he is in Star Force 1, and he is in the post-game of Star Force 2. And yeah, his name... Well, his name is Pat, as you know.
As we'll get into a bit more, he's not really a bad person. He's just kind of like there to be that one guy who doesn't know whether or not he's good or bad. Like every series is going to have one character like that, and Pat is basically that exact character. Not moving. Jammers are so annoying. So we see behind the jammer we see an FMEN that hasn't taken over a human, just kind of standing there, watching over, and he refuses to answer to us and just runs away. So we just kind of ignore him. I probably should explain, but the reason I'm saying FMEN is because they're aliens from planet FM. That's what they're referred to as. So we just leave Pat there. I'm just gonna chill out there, I guess. And we're gonna go sleep.
Good night.
And just ignore anything that Pat's about to do. I mean, he's perfectly safe, right? He's a normal human being. Not like he's supposed to be like 13 or something, alone at a dump. Something happens in the cutscenes that I skip where we basically have to go to Times Square because things are going down. So now we learn that Pat is actually being controlled by an FMEN, but not in the same sense as everyone else. Unlike everyone else, Pat has a form of control over it. Like, he can say no to Gemini, which is the FMEN taking control of him. The rest of them didn't have the kind of power, but the reason that Pat can be controlled is because he's sad, because he has no family. And so he was taken over, and because he has like some strong control of himself, he's able to change his emotions enough to stop Gemini from taking over completely. So this guy says he lost a shovel card, but it's literally like 5 feet in front of him.
Oh yeah, that is kinda true.
Based on PC.
Okay then.
So now we start the Gemini Spark scenario, where we basically have to go through piles of junk and help Hertz find their friends so we can stop the jammers that are preventing us from advancing.
I would like to say something about this scenario that is going to start Silver in a few moments. Like, for example, if this is your first playthrough of the game and you are in this scenario, like, if you are going to I wouldn't like to say suffer, but it's the only word that I have in mind. Like, this scenario is really annoying. You have to find the hearts that are under the trash, and I don't think it works pretty well. Like you get some hints about the location of the hearts, and you have an item to be able to find them, but it doesn't work quite well because you can find another things. Like, you can find a green mystery data, blue mystery data, or you can find the hearts. But if I remember in my first playthrough of this area, it took me about 1 hour or maybe more to be able to find the hearts, and it was really annoying. That's all I can say of this part.
the hints they give you in the English version are pretty bad. In the Japanese version, they make a bit more sense. In this, they just like, oh, he likes TVs or he likes cars. In the Japanese version, he says, I last saw him around a TV. I last saw him around a car. So instead of like scanning the entire, like just around the object, you have more of a reference point to go off of. Like he's going to be somewhere in the general vicinity. So here's the first jammer. They're all followed by some form of virus that's supposed to help them. But they're just kind of jokes, so... Also, your HP carries over because you don't... Only until the last comp in this set, you don't pulse out, so your HP is carried along throughout these comps. And it's a pretty short scenario, actually, so... Like I mentioned before, they start getting shorter around the halfway mark.
Well, in speedrunning terms, this scenario is really short. You obviously know the location of every hearse.
Yeah, you just go immediately to where they're at.
Pretty much. I will have to disagree with your commentary, Hot Goblin, because the gaming is part, well, since you have, if you know about the type key and you know about some commands, gaming is part, maybe can be hard, but he isn't that hard because the Star Force 2 is, you start really OP. In the Star Force 1, if you aren't, for example, you aren't playing the Dragon version, you are playing for example, the Pegasus version. It happened to me in a playthrough that he was really annoying, and I won't recommend you to use Pegasus because you will get double damage. So when I was playing this game for my first time, I did some kind of silly mistakes. But yeah, I would say gaming is more hard in the Star Force 1. If you aren't using any commands in Star Force 2, yeah, it can be way more harder.
So as I started there, if you take too long to burn the herds, the game tells you that trash trucks will come by and mow over the herds and move them, and the dialogue even says, we'll move them, but they don't go anywhere. They don't change locations. It is a blatant lie.
Yeah.
And if you get hurt, you take damage.
Yeah. The same game is lying to you. Dragon. Grow up, dude. Like, I was going to ask you something. What about if you find all the hairs and you pull out and you enter again? Is that more fast or is it more slow?
It might be faster. I haven't tested it. I should probably do that now that you mention it.
Yeah, when I was trying to learn this game, I was looking at your video more in this part because I didn't know the location of the hairs. So I was asking myself, like, it will be more fast to push out and enter again, or will be more fast just to run?
It might be faster, so like I said, I haven't tested.
Okay, I gave you one idea now. Okay.
Yeah, most of the notes that I had originally for this, I came up with during what I like to call a peak of insanity. I basically spent 2 days routing this, where I basically sat there with maps, locations of MP memories, HP memories, all that crap, and I sat there for 2 days, looking at all that stuff, walking through the game with Word open, keeping track of everything I was doing. yada yada yada, this and that, and I went pretty much insane from it. It got to the point where I was just listening to the same song for 6 hours on loop.
Wow. I wasn't like that when I was routing my Star Force 2. I was routing like almost every day. I was routing like from 2 or 3 hours, or maybe less. But because I wanted to make sure if I can do something else. But it took me a while to route Star Force 2. But this game looks like it takes more time to route.
Yeah, that was 2 days of dedicated routing time. The only thing that was, the only other thing that had my attention were streams that were going on in the background. And for those of you who are probably here from last marathon, I was supposed to do Star Force for the last marathon, but my DS didn't arrive with the capture board soon enough for me to be able to do it, so we had to cancel it.
No
But
worry.
here I am doing it. And then during Vash's Star Force 2 run, he made his auto brother my name. So my first run of Star Force 2, I returned the favor, and I run on YouTube. My auto brother's name is Vash. So this is the final. Oh, I've got to talk to her. So this is the final trash comp. So we've got a few more hertz to find, and then we should be good.
I think maybe sub 2 can be possible, maybe.
The one time I'm really aiming for is, for those of you who don't know, there was a guy by the name of Venick on the SDA forums who did basically a segmented run where basically they have the ability to grind out good times and just like use saves to repeat segments if they want. And basically it's like aiming for an ideal time in a single segment run. And Venick did a segmented run of Star Force 1. Of course, he said he got an in-game time of 3 hours and 13 minutes, but he had no proof of it. So instead of, just going and saying like, oh, he has no proof, my goal is to actually meet his segmented run. And it is completely possible.
Yeah, I think it's really possible.
So I want to at least get close, or basically do better than his segmented run. And Venick is actually known for like being serious about speedruns and everything, so I would assume his time was he probably spent a lot of time trying to get that, so it's not like something you imagine, oh, he probably just sat down for a bit and did it. And what's interesting is I didn't know Venick did it until we started doing some digging around for the Battle Network speedrunning history. Someone wants to plug that command into the chat real quick. Oh.
I remember I watched his stream. He was right now. I think he's more focused in the Zelda thing.
Yeah,
that is my bad.
He was big into RPGs, but now he just wants to play Zelda games.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I went one time to his stream and I asked him about, hey dude, are you still interested in doing Star Force 1? Like, I saw one commentary in SDA about you were interested in doing Star Force 1. Like I said, there is already one person running Star Force 1.
Yeah, I've talked to him a bit. He doesn't seem too interested in going back to it, so...
Maybe he likes more about more action games.
What he told me is, basically his segmented run was that, hey guys, this game exists, you should probably check it out. And that's all that it was for.
The what?
He basically said his segmented run exists, or like his post about a segmented run exists to show people this game exists and people should check it out.
Oh.
Alright, so here's the Gemini Spark fight. If I draw Dragon, or I didn't draw it. If I can get Star Break pretty early, that's ideal. Flicker Kick is really annoying in this fight because it can target the one Gemini Spark that can't take damage.
Oh yeah, I hate that. That's the most annoying thing. I think it changes in Star Force 2 that you can do damage to both Geminis.
Yeah.
And in this one, if you try to do damage to the white Gemini, he won't take any damage and you only have to attack the black one. No races.
So, I grabbed the Star Break, so now my Buster basically does quite 2 times damage to him. Ah crap, he moved out of the back row. So I just wasted Sky Dragon SP.
Wow.
And this isn't actually the last time we fight him. He returns. Alright, time to just finish this fight.
Wow. That Dragon Sky speed, that was really sad. I forgot. When do you get that card?
After this, actually.
Wow.
You get it, I believe, in time to do the second Gemini fight. So, what's interesting is there's an unskippable cutscene now that makes you think you're gonna get a brother band with that. Like, it's like a tease.
Oh yeah.
But it only starts out unskippable. Like, the first few text boxes aren't skippable, and you can only skip it when you get close. The screen's down and finish like transitioning. So now, like I mentioned before, we're at the point in the game where Geo decided he wanted to go depressing, and now we're about to break brother bands with everyone because space to Geo.
Oh yeah, he was a really sad boy in this game. Like he cannot trust in any people.
So my HP went from 480 to 370 because of that. So now, what happens as a result is we get to go make amends with everyone again. And making amends with Luna requires us to do the triple jammer fight. Yay! So, first of all, we have to go to Times Square because something's happening there. Our mom's there and shit's going down, so we need to figure out what it is. And then, after this, we get the help signal. And that's where... Oh, wait, what? Oh. I'm dumb.
You're dumb?
I forgot that there's one extra part before that. I'm supposed to go talk to Aaron.
Wow.
So I went to Times Square, so we can count that as a wrong bus.
That, actually, I remember that scene is really sad. Like you are only Geo, you don't have Omega 6, and well, the people are going to watch soon. After they, well, I am going to wait for that. Like that scene is really sad for me.
Yeah, basically, Joe flashes out and Adam Pegasus, and so he leaves. Okay, this should be where I have to go to Times Square. Pressing L in Star Force games isn't actually... It doesn't waste as much time because you can view... By pressing A and B as you press L, all of the text loads, so you can see, and then you can just press A and B again to skip the rest of it. So the box is only up for a few frames rather than like a few seconds. so it doesn't lose as much time, but ideally you wouldn't want to use it at all. And then once we get all our brother bands back, we're going to be entering the part of the game that almost no one on the internet seemed to understand at the time. Back when this game came out, there was a part, the ending, where the game isn't very clear about what you're doing. At least in the English version, it's not clear at all. So people got lost and didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. And a few people I've seen on forums say they gave up on the game because they couldn't figure out what they were doing. But basically, I'll get more into it once we actually get there, because now it's almost pointless to even talk about it. So, we're chasing after the help signal, which comes from Dream Island. There's a jammer there. We'll take out the baseball machine that just happens to be here.
That is scene, what I was going to tell that scene, like, in this case you don't have Omega 6 and your mother is in danger. Your mother is in danger to die, and as you know, your father is supposed to be dead. It's kinda sad that you are watching that your mother is going to die and a miracle happens. Like, in my first playthrough of this game, I was like, my god, dude, if this guy is really a sad boy, what will happen if his mother died? Something like that.
Yeah, they spent the first game pretty much going, you need to feel sorry for Gio. And then like the second and third one, you're like, premise changes from, I've got to save the world. So, and then the great boss theme plays there, which we skip, so we only hear it for a few seconds. And then we get a Jammer G. So, these guys are trolls, and because I've got no brother bands, I don't have undershirt or barrier or any of that. So this fight's rather interesting.
Dragon, please.
Okay, well, if this is a good time, we do have a donation from Lucas, $20.28. Hopefully this puts the donation total to a round amount before I go completely crazy. Great to see that I'm not the only one who loves these games and still plays them. Keep up the good work. We want that to go to one of the donation incentives. Somebody could put the schedule in the chat, and we still have a couple of donation incentives going on.
And then just message the TeamBN account on Twitch and just say the name on your PayPal so we can prove that it's you, and then what you want it to go towards.
Yes.
So here we get our rubber band with Sonya back, and it's powered up so we get more HP from it. So now she said we should probably go apologize to Luna, so now we gotta go find her as well. Doom 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 doom. So she's just making Echo Ridge, pretty straightforward, and she's in front of the store. Now, you have to talk to Bud and Zach before you talk to Luna to trigger the cutscene, but I'm going to talk to Bud and Zach and then save. It's the second I talk to Luna, Triple Jammer fight starts.
See, the one question, it was Sonya who saved Gio's mom.
Huh?
It was Sonya who saved Gio's mom in that scenario.
Yeah, well.
I wanted to remember, like, I didn't remember who saved Geos, man.
Okay, so not the best draw to start with. Those two lined up, so that's good. My health is 420. Get your jokes out of the way now. Okay, it's gone. Oh my god, you need to watch that. That couldn't have been more perfect.
I'm missing.
They all walked into a ground wave. And they all walked into a tail burn too. This isn't the fastest fight of this I've had. I've had it end much faster.
Wow, that ground wave too, dude.
Oh. So now I've gotten rid of 2 of the jammers, so now it's just a matter of 1 guy.
Yeah, pretty much this fight can be maybe around here if you had a really bad RNG of this fight. Like,
Yeah, it's a trash fight. And especially since we do this with low HP, it's even worse.
yeah, in this fight you have to move to the sides as fast as you can, if not, you're pretty much dead.
Got another unskippable cutscene here, so...
Wow,
Mash,
you
mash,
played Dragon
mash.
Sky Spin.
Yeah, I got it from a counter, but the jammer moved out of the way, so I wasted it. So now we get our brother band with Luna back, and everyone thanks us for saving them. And then just as everyone's walking away, Bud asked us to be his brother as well. And you can form a brother band with Zach, but you can only do it after you beat the game. You have to do a stupid... how you get a brother band with him is really stupid. You have to do 10 consecutive fights with G viruses. And if you die, you game over, so... Reset.
Well, Zack is the most useless character in all the three games, so he's kinda useless. Like
Yeah,
Luna
but
and Bud
it's-
are more important than Zack.
Yeah, but still required for 100%. So I got him on my
Unfortunate.
Japanese version. And then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to get the 3 main brother bands, get a brother band with Zack, and then you have 2 spaces left. Those are supposed to be for brother bands of the other versions of the game. So, like, it's basically saying, hey, if you've got friends, you can complete your brother band thing full circle. Or you can delete the main story brother bands and get brother bands with just your friends, but that's kind of pointless. So, on my Japanese version, I have a brother band with a copy of Leo and Pegasus, so I've got all the Starbreak abilities.
So you pretty much have a brother band with yourself, Captain.
Yeah, all of the brother bands are just with my own copies. So I made a brother band with myself. That sounds pretty pathetic, doesn't it?
That sounds selfish, Captain.
So, we have to come in here because we have to examine the space colony thing again. Because we have to trigger it later. So, The dialogue for that is a little different than when you had to examine it for the beginning of the game. Just a hint towards there's something special about it. So, basically, this is where everyone got stuck. Aaron basically says he can help us get to the FMN King, who's currently on his way to destroy Earth, by the way. Aaron can help us get to him and intersect him, but he needs a part that his old boss restricted his use of. And his old boss quit, so we had to figure out who his boss was. And he says nothing about it. He just says, my old boss. And that's it. So a bunch of people quit because they couldn't figure out who it was. It just so happens to be that old man that stood in Echo Ridge this entire game.
Oh yeah.
So you talk to him, he says, oh, this feels just like the day all those years ago. And then he's like, I'll write about it in my translator. So you gotta go invade his privacy and talk to him. Basically a reoccurring theme for the end of the game is we're just gonna invade people's privacy, because the world. Basically the fate of the entire planet is in the hands of us stealing information from people.
Pretty much. BRB.
Alright. So he basically talks about how what happened, and that he wished he had some tea. The guy who runs the store here, the Big Wave, doesn't sell it anymore. So we're gonna go persuade him into giving us one. And by persuading, we're gonna go break into his store. I'd like to point out that you can't actually jump into the wave hole from there, because you're not close enough. But where you can pulse in is actually farther away. Gonna bust for this guy because he goes down pretty fast. Also, my IRC client is blinking and it's annoying me a little bit. There is an HP memory in here you can grab if you need it. So, we're gonna break in here. Don't talk to the display, talk to him. He says that he has one left, but he'll sell it for 3,000 zenny. And we've got more than enough, so we'll just buy it off him. Now we're gonna be approaching the end of the game. So he basically tells us what happened, and then he tells us where he hid it. So, and it's in the satellite thing I examined before coming here.
The only bad thing is that he wants you to give you a tropical tea. Like, come on, dude.
Trying to save the world here.
Hey, I'm going to say a word. Do you want a tropical tea? Okay, the word is saved, dude. Thank you so much.
Go. So now we just gotta pulse in and jump into the wave hole.
Alright, well, if we have time, can I talk about the stream real fast?
Yes, go ahead.
A reminder that we are raising funds for Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders is an international media humanitarian organization created by doctors and journalists in France in 1971. Today, Doctors Without Borders provides independent and impartial assistance to more than 60 countries, people whose life is threatened by crisis or catastrophe, primarily due to armed conflicts, epidemics, malnutrition, exclusion from healthcare, or natural disasters. We are still taking donations, and we still have a couple of incentive goals going on. Some for a crossover cutscene for right after this game is done in about 30 or 40 minutes, I think. And save which bid item in Star Force 3. You can save either Sonya's bag, Bud's shirt, or Luna's tissue. And right now, Sonya's bag is in the lead right now.
Nice.
Could be.
By only about $3. If you get one Bud's shirt, which will probably never be done in a speedrun again, go ahead and
For good reason.
No, but you no. He's ugly.
So, there, we just had to fight some more G-viruses. So, now we got data that tells us where the part that Aaron needs, but taking it to Aaron, I'm going to read it ourselves. Need to go to our key items. Oh, I didn't finish examining it because I'm good. And you just mash text until it's over. And we basically have to go to Dream Island because it's hidden there. Also, one thing I'd like to mention now is I apologize if during this entire thing you could hear either my fan or the game's volume being played through my speakers. So,
The only thing that I heard was your game volume through your speakers, but it wasn't that annoying. Well, I
Yeah,
am not listening to the stream, but for so far, it wasn't that annoying for me. I don't know about the stream.
after you mentioned it the first time, I reached over to my speakers and turned it down a bit. It's quieter than it was before. So now we have to switch manually over to the shovel card, which is, and then we have to examine this. And that's manually switching cars, probably the most annoying thing about this game, because it stops Geo's movement when you do it. So, just down here is the key to saving the world. So, now we've got the Giga card, so I'm going to go insert that into my folder. So, the Giga card, if you have Dragon enabled, it is completely overpowered and can do 1500 damage. So, ideally we'd like to draw it here. Holy crap, nope, GG, goodbye.
You draw it with Gemini.
Well, alright,
Wow.
well.
You just draw.
Don't worry, he stepped forward. It
What?
missed because he stepped forward.
Wow.
I drew the Giga card and Gemini was like, no.
Wow.
I could have had a better fight than my PB, but no. Gemini, the master troll.
Wow, you should. I would tell Terra to highlight that. The biggest troll ever.
That's some serious BS.
Well, this would have been one turn, and I don't know how many it is so far. I think that the thing that you should have done, but it doesn't matter right now. You should have pause blue for this.
Yeah, this fight's lasting a lot longer than it should because of missing the Giga card. Probably should have waited. Like I should have figured that was going to happen.
Yeah, you were okay. It will happen the same thing to me, to be honest. That you are really excited to be able to finish this battle really soon.
So I finally drew the Starbreak card, by the way. Now that fight's over. Unneeded. That really didn't need to be that painful. So that's Gemini Spark gone again. So now, in the next day, we'll start the final stretch of the game, where I just had to do the space station comps, which is basically just a boss rush, and then I fight Andromeda, which is the FMEN's ultimate weapon that they were going to use to blow up Earth. Talk to Mom. So all of the FMENs managed to escape safely, and the FMEN King is angry that they all failed, so he gives them one final chance to stop me from destroying Andromeda. I can't take that conversation seriously when it ends with Gawk ... Now we're gonna... Oh yeah, that's right. We gotta go to Vista Point to have everyone say good luck. Alright. Now, if I remember right in my PB, I had pretty good refights, so I've got to get pretty lucky. And then Andromeda is kind of a joke if you know what you're doing.
Dan deserves to be punished, Captain.
So here, we come down here, we'll see Aaron just lying on the ground as if he's been damaged, or hurt, or attacked. It just turns out he fell asleep. So he prepares the signal, and now we're heading up to the same space station that Geo's dad disappeared from, and that the FMEN King is using to crash into the Earth. So we're just gonna go jump on. And then this is where a lot of the story comes in, because there's a lot of cutscenes here where yada yada yada, boring story, yada yada. So, each one of these rooms we have to examine the door first. You have to examine the door first. Wrong door. So, a lot of these also combine needing the cards, so it's kind of annoying. Why am I being stupid right now? I'm like derping hard.
I don't know what to say about that.
I was getting way too ahead of myself and using the wrong card. Oh wait, I think I put in the wrong... I messed up the final two numbers. I put 2138 when it's 21883. Basically. So, basically, we got to examine the door first that leads to the next area. Then it'll trigger the event for whatever we need to do to get the wave hole. And as there, I examined the door, and then the second door, which is supposed to... was locked, but because we have key man, we can just... Then we jump into the wave hole for the door. Now, normally here, they've got like some huge, like, star puzzle where you're supposed to, like, fly over the area and then guess where the pattern is and then put it at the door blocking the boss. But since I already know what all of them are, I'm just gonna skip over to the door and put the code. How's that for a password? Punk. Oh, and my walk frames. This game.
Okay, so these scenarios I think you are already watching, but in these scenarios you have to do like a puzzle. So this puzzle you have to put together some stars, and you have to watch since you are in this scenario in which order you have to put this stars. But since Silver already knows the order of the stars, or he has speeches about this maybe, or he has, I think he has memorized these things. So you just have to come to each of these scenarios that you are just arriving. You just run a little and you just put a password to the puzzle, and that's all you have to do in every puzzle, in every com of this scenario. So these scenarios are kinda long, but if you already know the puzzle, it's pretty easy.
It can be the shortest if you know the passwords already.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a really dumb Sigma swing fight.
Well, at least you use it like at least you use in the correct way the Dragon Sky speed cutter. Wow, that's I know.
So now, finally getting rid of the FM and unlocks the door. So now, switch to Thermoman for this one. Here, door. Over to where the wave hole is, there's trash, but the air is so light that Geo can't do anything about it, so gotta use Thermoman to prayer. To do that, we have to examine the console first. Just click air.
how long until the end of the run?
Probably like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Yes,
I'm doing the boss rush now.
Is Vash ready?
You should probably start setting up your stream.
Actually, I was trying to contact Terra in Skype right now, but he doesn't think that he is there. But I am ready so far. Like, the only thing that I will need to do is just to test my audio. If my audio is fine.
Cards again. To Propeller Man.
So is this pace still on time with your PB?
Oh, it's gonna beat my PB. If I don't mess up terribly. I mean, I'm ahead of PB by 10 minutes. But now I've just gotta control Propeller Man to fix some issues at the station. We're getting really lucky virus encounters here as well. Good.
There is waifu chat going on.
Yeah. You should have seen when Terra started it. He pulled up the layout, and then he said, "Oh wait, this is Silverstream, hold on." And he put up like 1,000 different pictures of Sonya. Okay, so here's Libra B2, so I'm gonna save because it's 50. And the off chance that I actually die here. I drew Sky Dragon GX first turn. That just gives you a taste of its power right there. And then if I have the Dragon Star Break active, it does twice the damage. Him down, and then we're heading into the last station comp before Andromeda. So good hype, everyone. The game's about to end.
No.
So here we get all the story around in our face. So we come back here, and cutscene after cutscene because there's a picture of Geo and his dad on the wall. And all the cutscenes are over. Pulse in, and we go for the final boss. Preventing us from the final boss, that is.
I will be in stream too. I will be either this is it.
Okay. Getting a really bad chip draw here. Oh, how nice of you to go up now. And you're out of here. Alright, this is it. After this last save, we'll be going into the final area. Now, the viruses in here are really dangerous. Hopefully we don't get at least more than one encounter. And that's it off my mouth. Yep, and the two worst viruses to get. So, these guys are annoying because they can only be hurt by swords. Thankfully I drew two long swords, so... Wow, an encounter right before the final fight. And it's another two black holes, but I have no swords this time. So I can't escape because the run rate for this area is 980 HP. So to keep these guys from attacking, because they've got various annoying attacks, I'm just going to keep moving around. Get one of them to attack. Trying to get them off sync. Wow, I'm getting everything I don't want. Kindly take any sword right now. So their most annoying attack is they can suck up your HP, even if you have a barrier. So, this is the final fight. It's versus Andromeda, Planet FM's most dangerous weapon. So, as you'll notice, I'm not going to actually take Skydragon GX right now. I'm actually going to hold on to it until I draw all of the cards, all the SP cards, and until I have him and them in my hand.
Alright, can you tell me when you're finished so I can split?
Time isn't it when I kill Andromeda, just a heads up. It's when I escape the space station.
Oh, okay. Am I doing it based off the stream, or...?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I've drawn all the SP ones now. And the reason I wanted to wait till now is because when Andromeda gets below a certain amount of health, he changes forms to just like a humanoid form, where you can only attack him if his core is open. And of course that's a lot harder to hit than this form, so we're gonna deal out all the damage before he transforms, basically. So he'll transform at a lower HP amount. So we got him 700 health, 700 HP lower than he'd normally have when he'd transform. But since he decided to do his claw attack, I can actually throw in another attack before he transforms. So now he's got 500 HP when normally he'd have 1500 when he transforms. And now we can only hurt him when his core is open, which only occurs when he's attacking. Yeah, you'll see I'm not really being too cautious about how much damage I take, and that's simply because it just doesn't matter. And that's Andromeda. Now I've just got to escape, and that's it. And that's time. So, my old personal best was 3 hours, 38 minutes, and 48 seconds. Now it's 3 hours, 29 minutes, and 58 seconds.
Did it reset it?
Did you reset the timer on accident?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
and
they've got my timer.
Stopped on reset, so stop.
So now the credits gets to play. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a screenshot of my split so everyone can see. Who flashed me? Two people, Nick flashed me, whatever.
Yes, you got a 0-second world record. No, but he has
Did I hear world record?
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone enjoyed this run. It's now actually the longest Star Force game. It used to be Star Force 3, but they brought it down to sub 3.
People are asking in the chat what was the time.
Oh, Method's got it. So did the donation for the extra scenario get met?
I don't think so.
No,
Doesn't
dang,
look like
you guys should have donated for that. And my in-game time is 3:31.
Is someone willing to restream my stream?
Yeah, you guys can switch to Vash now. There's just like
Okay.
ending cutscene.
Are you going to do something else, Silver?
I'm gonna go get some food, but I'll commentate.
Are you going to do the extra stuff in Star Force 1? I mean the extra thing?
That's bonus stream stuff, and no one donated for the crossover.
No one donated?
So
Oh, okay. So
I would
who's
show it
going-
off. Yeah.
Okay. So who's going to do the stream and to see when? I want to see when that timer is going to run.